Hey and welcome to my channel. This is Nicolas Moulin. I am an email marketer for fashion brands. And in this YouTube channel, basically, I'm going to go through some tips to grow your fashion brands and e-commerce, as well as any kind of e-commerce really you might own, because all the principles are kind of applicable to any kind of business. But it is true that I mainly focus on fashion brands. And so in this video, what we're going to look at is how to get started with email marketing, especially with Klaviyo, which is the most popular email marketing platform. And I'm going to give you some tips about email campaigns, about email flows, how to optimize them, which flows to have, how to optimize your newsletters, and some final additional tips like the dark mode, things like that. So yeah, feel free to check in the video. Let your questions in the comments. You can contact me later on as well. And so let's get started. So basically what we're going to go through is what is email marketing first, how to get started with it in terms of platforms, in terms of setup, some things about email campaigns that you should know about, something about email flow that you should know about, some final tips, and then my contact details if you have any more questions about a particular technical thing or about your account. So what is email marketing? Email marketing is basically the communication between your brand and your customer list or community or clients, and it's divided into two types of blocks. One type is the campaigns, which is basically commonly known as newsletters. It's one email that you send manually, and it's mainly branding or transactional. So you either build your brand, send stuff about editorial campaigns or news about your brands, or what we usually receive, all of us, are more transactional emails like sales, like discounts, like new product launches, etc. And then the other type of email marketing block is the flows or automations, depending on the platform you're using. And the flow is basically a sequence of various emails that is structured and built based on behaviors. So it depends on what the user is going to do or is doing on the website. The most common flows are abandoned carts, welcome flow, when you get the discount for your first purchase, etc. So these are emails that are built within the platform and are sent automatically within the platform following actions of the user. So why is it important to do email marketing? Well, first of all, it's needed to build your email list. Now, if you're in the US, you might get away with it because in the US you can buy third-party data, like an email list from a company, and you can send email to to these people. Problem in Europe and in the EU especially, with the GDPR, you can't send emails to people that haven't accepted communication from you. So you need a platform to collect emails and to collect the consent of the users and your visitors to receive emails. Email marketing is also one of the main channels for acquisition. So you get people onto your email list because they want to get a discount for the pop-up on your first order, and you can send them the discount, you can send them flows about abandoned carts, you can send people who haven't bought free shipping. So it's a very big channel for acquisition. Also, it's one of the main channels for customer repetition and loyalty, because once you get somebody within the list who eventually end up buying, then it's easy for you to communicate with them, send them news about your product launches, about discounts, about offers, etc. It's also very good for communicating brand-related messages and not only sales and discounts. Things that you can't really do with ads, for example, which are mainly used to promote products and discounts. But yeah, newsletters basically is used to really give updates about the brand, maybe like an action you've done, behind the scenes, stuff like that. And also email marketing is on platform basis like Klaviyo, Ominsend, MailChimp. So it's a fixed cost because you only pay for the platform every month, plus maybe like the team to run it, either it's a freelancer, an agency, or somebody in-house. So it has a very fixed cost and a very high return as well. So something to keep in mind. So how to get started with it? So basically, first of all, you need to select the platform because email marketing requires a platform to do it. So some platforms are like Klaviyo, Ominsend, Drip, Sendingblue, which are the main ones. MailChimp is very limited, so I wouldn't really recommend it for e-commerce use. Some things that you want to consider when choosing a platform is the ease of use of the platform, the pricing, the support, which is very important. Because if you do it by yourself or if you do it in-house without really a lot of knowledge in email marketing, then you need a lot of support from the platform to help you, fix some issues. Maybe something isn't really set up correctly on the flow and you don't really send emails to people you want to send it to. So you need like a good support for platform. And also in terms of integration, you want to make sure that you can migrate your current lists of email to the platform easily. It needs to integrate with your CMS. So usually it's like Shopify. So all of them integrate with Shopify. You might want to integrate with Facebook ads or Meta, to run some campaigns about your email list. If you have large lists, so above 5 to 10,000 emails. And also some integrations about review app like Typeform. Klaviyo is launching its own review system. So you won't really need an external platform for it. Still need to see how it goes, but so for platform selection, you need to want to look at integration, capabilities, ease of use, pricing, and support. Also, once you get the platform, what you need to send emails are emails, obviously. And so for that, you need to collect emails. Now, the best way to do it, usually for e-commerces, especially for fashion, are pop-ups on the website that people can check and they let their email and they might receive a discount code. They might receive like a pre-access to a launch or to a sale. So you might want to do it that way. You can also use embedded forms in the footer of the website, in some landing pages. I find that they are not really as effective because people have trouble finding them. Very few people end up in the footer of the website. So things to keep in mind when collecting emails and about pop-up forms, pop-ups and embedded forms. So it can be created by within the platform itself. It needs to respect your country regulations. So it's very GDPR sensitive because the user needs to click on the box actively. You need to do a lot of A/B testing, whether it's on the design, on the offer, on the message, and also the emails. You can collect them at checkout. On Shopify, you have an option, when somebody let their email in the payment section in the checkout, they can check a box saying, I agree to receive communications, blah, blah, blah. So you can also collect email through that. So here are some examples of pop-ups. So the first one on the top right isn't actually GDPR accepted, I would say, because you don't have like the checkbox for the user to actively accept the terms and conditions. Very, very few websites actually do it correctly and following the GDPR rules, but you need to keep it in mind. And then the other one is like the embedded form, where you have the checkbox for the people to say, email me with news and offers. Usually that way that you want to go. So yeah. So in terms of pop-up data, thing that we checked around 100 e-commerces. So 37% of websites have a pop-up. It's very low, but only 37% of them have a pop-up. 97% of the websites have an embedded form because usually the templates of Shopify comes with it by default. 50% of the websites offer a discount on sign up, between 10 and 15%. 95% of the websites who use a pop-up offer discounts. So when a website has a pop-up, usually almost all the time is because they offer a discount. And 80% of the pop-ups appear directly on screen. So when you go onto the page, it appears directly when you land on the page, which is usually like not a good practice because you want people, especially if these are like first-time visitors from Facebook ads, you want them to check the website, check your product, check the pricing, etc. So they have no idea if they want to buy it. So, I would wait a bit for it, but we'll talk about it later on. Some regulations, as I said, so users need to be the one to check the boxes. You cannot have pre-checked boxes. User needs to accept terms and conditions and privacy policy. Users needs to be able to unsubscribe at any time. So within Klaviyo, you need to have an unsubscribe button, but you won't be able to send any emails without having this anyway. So yeah, it's already built in. So for example, do's and don'ts. So don't, you can't have a checkbox, pre-check box on the embedded form or the pop-up. And for example, you can't have only put your email address and that's it. You need to have some text and a checkbox to do it. So the example of the bottom right is the right way to do it. You need to have the email field and then a little sentence with a checkbox saying that I accept the privacy policy and to blah, blah, blah. So some things about email campaigns, which are commonly referred to as newsletters. So about newsletters. So they always have to have an informative purpose. There are two types of objectives. One is branding, one is to generate sales. They're easy to schedule and to build because they are like one template and there you go. And it's very important to segment. We're going to talk about segmentation in a bit, but basically you have two types of newsletters. The branding ones where you don't really want to sell anything. It's just like, here are the behind the scenes of the collection. Here is like a cool collaboration we did, blah, blah. So these ones transmit brand value and it's more about editorial, blog, etc. And here you focus on open rates and in-email navigation, which is usually like, where do people click, what are people interested in, and then transactional objective where you want to generate sales. And these are like, for example, new launches of products, promotions where you focus on open rate and click rate. So the campaign structure, I see a lot of brands overcomplicate campaigns. They have like a bunch of different buttons, a bunch of different blocks, and you don't really know where to click it. Like, what am I interested in? Like, what's the purpose of the newsletter? So that's why I always ask and recommend my clients to really simplify the structure. It's one header with a logo, one main image, a small text to explain a bit, the collection, the product, the offer. The good thing about fashion is you don't really need to explain anything apart from, maybe the materials and the collaboration and the story, but there's not a lot of convincing in fashion. The person either likes the product or he doesn't, It's not like cosmetics where you need to explain, the benefits and the ingredients of a cosmetic or the how to use it. Fashion is more straightforward, so you need to rely more on visuals. So one small text, one call to action, if possible only one, because you want to have one action per newsletter. Some additional content if you need to add more photos because like a product shot and you want to add more photos to the product shoot. And then the footer with your company information, your social links, the unsubscribe button, things like that. So it's a very simple structure, but the objective of the newsletter is nothing else than letting the person knows the message and for them to click and go to the website. That's it. There's no other, objective than that. So the rule of one, it's pretty simple, and it goes back to what we just talked about. One campaign for one objective, for one message, for one audience, with one call to action. All right? So for example, one campaign, launching a new t-shirt. What's the objective? For people to buy the t-shirt. So what is the message? Well, message about the t-shirts, the design, the process, the material maybe, but nothing really super developed because it's just a t-shirt. One audience, who do you want to target? Either your most engaged people who bought a t-shirt, people who've interacted with the t-shirt, pages of the website, and one call to action, which is usually shop now, and it goes to the product page of the t-shirts. That's it. Very simple. It's very easy to build. It's very easy to structure, and the objective is clear. The person will open the email. The subject line will be like new in or new drop t-shirt, blah blah. They will open the email. They will see the t-shirt. They will decide on the email whether they like the design or not. If they like the design, they most likely will click, and then when they click, the objective is for them to buy it. Keep it very simple, because if you try to overcomplicate every newsletter, you will spend a lot of time on each newsletter, and the problem is you won't have a lot of time to build in volume. So very, very simple rule of one. About segmentation, and that's something that's one of the biggest mistake I see in all the accounts I work with or I audit, is that people send every email to the whole list. They don't do any segmentation. They don't really care about what did people do, have they engaged with my website, have they unsubscribed. So what is segmentation basically? Segmenting is to identify a group of users based on specific properties. And by property, I mean something they might have done on the website, their country, their gender, something they might have bought previously, things like that, to really narrow down and be the most qualitative as possible with the message, because the audience needs to match the message. So why is a good segmentation necessary? It allows for better deliverability, meaning that when you start with the Klaviyo or Ominsend or any platform, you will get metrics of spam rates, of unsubscribe rates, and these metrics might make your emails go into spam. All right. If you go into the promotion tab, it's not a big deal, because ultimately almost every newsletter I receive from any brands go in the promotion tab. Promotion is not spam, okay? But if you go to spam, that's a big issue, because very few people will end up seeing your emails. So you need to segment to make the message more relevant. And as I said, not segmenting equals to poor metrics, equal to spam, equals to no revenue, okay? So a list is not a segment. A list is emails you collect, but you need to segment from that list. So let's say that you collect 1,000 emails from the pop-up. You have a list of 1,000 emails, but then you want to segment. So let's segment women and men, or let's segment people who have been active on the website in the past 60 days, or people who have opened my email in the past 60 days. So here are some segments that you can use if you have like a matching newsletter to go with it. So highly engaged people in the last 60 days, so people who have opened the email or have been active on the website, people who viewed product X, for example, people who have subscribed to a back in stock. So for example, if you have like a product that is back is out of stock, and you have a possibility to have people subscribe to the back in stock, then you can let them know when it will go back in stock so they can be ready to buy it. People who have purchased in the last 6 months, People who spent above X amount of euros in the last 2 years, that can be your VIP list. And people who haven't opened any email in the last 6 months, which are like the less qualified people in your list that you might want to exclude to avoid a low open rate. Okay. So what do you measure in email marketing? You can only control 2 things, the open rate and the click rate. You can't impact anything else because revenue, orders, it depends on the offer, it depends on the traffic, it depends on the website. So the only 2 things you can control in email marketing is open rate and click rate. How do you impact open rate? With a good segmentation, A/B testing, sending hours. Is it better to send an email early in the day, at the evening when people are back from work, during lunch break? That's something that you need to test out. Headline, obviously, like the subject line, is very important. That's what people will see in their inbox. And when you send an email and you think about the subject line, you need to think about how does it look like within the inbox environment? How would it look like with maybe 15 other summer sales or Black Friday emails? How can I make my email stand out? Preview text, really underrated, but also very useful for people to, have more information about the content. And domain authority, which is what we talked about when we talked about segmentation. If you have a low domain authority, you might be more likely to go into spam. What impacts the click rates? The email layout, the content quality, the offer and message, the call to action, and the email clarity. Very straightforward. That's why you need to have the rule of 1, where you match the audience with the message. It increases the probability of people being interested in it and the message being relevant. And so you put more chances on your side to have a better click rate and open rate. So about email flows. So as I said, email flows are automized, they are behavior based, they are personalized, they are mainly transactional. They have like a heavy setup, but very low maintenance. So it's a lot of work to build them and structure them well and, create each email in each flow, because each flow can have like maybe 5 and 6 emails. So it's a lot of work at the beginning, but once you have it, launched, it's quite easy to maintain. So some recommended flows are the welcome flow, the abandoned cart, post-purchase, back in stock, WINBACK, and rescue. So the welcome flow is very simple. It's what people will see when they sign up to your list. So it's the first email that the brand send to the user, unless they get by the welcome flow with the Shopify checkout field. In this case, the first email will be the order confirmation. It's key to communicate the brand and products. So a lot of welcome flows, emphasize on about the brand and the story about the brand and maybe what makes them different. I try to avoid discount at all costs in this flow. Like, I know it's very difficult. I know that, as we said, like 95% of the website using pop-ups have a discount. I don't think it's the way to do it, but some brands need to do it. And it is the first step to build a relationship also. So some example might include introducing the team, some social proof, some bestsellers, etc. Abandoned cart flow, it's pretty straightforward. So it sends to people who added to the cart and did not buy. Between 6 and 10% of visitors add an item to the cart. About 80% of these people don't end up buying, and the flow is here to convert these people. It's like, hey, you forgot about something. Typical, and it's very difficult in this flow to be creative, because almost all the flows and emails you receive on abandoned carts like, hey, Nicolas, you forgot about something. It's like, yeah, I know, but you need to be a bit more creative, but it's quite hard. So for example, it's like complete your order. Maybe you'll prefer this. So maybe you prefer this is when you do the flow and you send a reminder of the cart, and then you send another reminder, and you see that the person isn't buying anything, you send them some alternative products in case they want to buy this product and not the initial one. Back in stock flow, I see a very few brands have it, and it depends on your capacity at restocking products, obviously. But it's basically like a very simple flow to build because it's one email only. So in Klaviyo, when you have a product out of stock or a size which is out of stock, you have the possibility to let people know notify me field. So instead of buying, they can put their email and they receive like a notification once the product is back in stock. So it's very easy to build, very cool to have, because in all the brands I worked with, the back in stock, when there was like a bestseller coming back in stock, this flow was like absolutely smashing it. So I would recommend to have it. And pretty easy to do, pretty easy to build, and very dynamic. So you don't really need to change a lot. Post-purchase flow, that's one of the very few I see active, because you need to think that once somebody buys a product from you, they will receive the Shopify order confirmation, they will receive the shipping email, but you can communicate more information through a specific post-purchase flow. So more information about the brand that needs to be different from the welcome flow, obviously, but you can filter it out. You can say, only send if people haven't received the welcome flow email. So you can send it some days after somebody buys a product. It can be different than the order and shipping confirmation. And it's a great opportunity to cross-sell as well. And I know fashion is quite difficult to cross-sell, but let's say that somebody buys a t-shirt from a collaboration, then you can cross-sell them with a jacket from the same collaboration or an accessory, something like that. Also a good idea to get some feedback, so you can put like a survey with it. As I said, Klaviyo will launch their own review system, so you will be able to ask the review within this flow. And so, for example, some example of emails I run with some clients in this flow are product care, when you have like leather products or very specific materials, how to wash them especially, ideas of look with what they bought, some complementary items for cross-selling, things like that. The WINBACK flows, so WINBACK flow are directed to people who have bought some time ago, like 60, 90 days. And it's basically, to increase customer repetition and to make them buy a new product, a new drop, etc. So you can actually do the WINBACK flow within the post-purchase flow because it's the same logic. But some people like to divide it because the message is quite different. So it depends on what is your repetition rate and how often do people buy from you again. But some examples are product novelties or the cross-selling, stuff like that. To really the objective on here is to increase recurrency. And the rescue flow, this is sent to people who haven't bought from you for a long time. So in fashion, it's quite difficult because you have two main collections, the spring, summer, and fall, winter. So you might have people buying in the spring, summer, and then buy during Black Friday or Christmas. So the time for the rescue flow and to really get somebody flagged as might be losing it can be very long, so you need to figure out when do people actually drop off. So you can offer them discounts or free shipping to get them back. And then also you can do like what's called sunset, which is basically sending them an email saying that if they don't interact with the email, they might get off the list. So you need to clean the list quite regularly as well with the people who haven't been active with the emails. So some final tips, because it's been already half an hour, but yeah, it's been quite complete. So some final tips, you need to think mobile first. I see a lot of people share designs on LinkedIn, on the Facebook groups, etc., where the design is the desktop design. But the big majority of people, read their emails on mobile. So you need to make sure that the email on mobile looks good. If you do like image plus text, it will go above and below. So, you need to make a lot of preview to make sure it looks good. Need to figure out as well that 82% of the people have a dark mode enabled. What does the dark mode do? Well, it does like what the little image here does. In dark modes, basically clear colors become dark and dark colors become clear. So you need to make sure as well that the colors look cool. So if you send an email which is in white background, the email will become dark with white text. So if you have like an image with a white background image, it will look weird because the email will be dark. So try to have the header, image, message, and CTA on one screen. It's very difficult because usually the image takes the whole screen. But if the image takes the whole screen, put some text in it, in Canva or whatever, and have people scroll down, and then you have like the message and CTA in one screen. So you only need one scroll to see the whole email. GIF as well increases CTR by 20%, but be very careful with the GIF size. Now Klaviyo has put a limit on email sizes in terms of content. You can only put like 5 mega of content within it. But you need to do the preview to see if the GIF is loading quite quickly. If it doesn't, then people will just back out and don't read the email. And play with some CTA dimensions as well. It's recommended to have like a 44-57 pixel, but you need to play with it. And about A/B testing, always test one element at a time. So let's say that you want to test out the open rate on one of your email flow, then just test the open rate with the headline, for example. Just change the headline. Be very patient because especially on email flows, if you don't really have a lot of signups, not a lot of data will come in. So you need like maybe a month or 2 months to get some data from it, and never assume anything. One of the brands I worked with, they had like a 10% discount on sign up. We changed it to a gift card contest. So every month, one person of the signups will receive the gift card. Didn't change the sign up rates, and actually saved the brand a lot of money because they saved up on the 10% discounts that people were using. Sign up to newsletters and play with the websites, to have any ideas about some newsletters that you might be running. Sign up to all the websites, not necessarily your competition, but brands that your audience and your clients might be buying from. So let's say that you are a premium fashion brands. You might want to check all the premium fashion brands, but also maybe premium interior design, brands or jewelry or things like that. So brands that your users might be familiar with. And also look at your inbox. Look at what catches your eyes in terms of texts, headlines, preview text, and what do these emails have in common? What do they emphasis on? Do they put your name in the headline? Do they put the discount first or afterwards? And one website you can check as well is called Really Good Emails. You can check a lot of layout and visuals in it. It's mainly American brands, but it's cool as well to to have some perspective and get some fresh ideas, so you can check really good emails as well. And finally, to get in touch with me, this is my email, this is my website. Happy to have, to run a free audit of your account if you want to, or if you have any questions about the presentation, about the video, let me know in email. Happy to look into it. And that was how to get started in email marketing. Hope you liked it. Hope it was useful. As I said, if you have any questions, let me know by email. Let me know on LinkedIn. Hit me up, and I'll see you into the next video. Cheers.